Okay, so I just wanted to make a quick video because I had a good discussion with one of my friends this morning and I thought it might be important or useful to share. So my friend is an INFJ and I went to college together. I was an engineering student, but he was a philosophy student. A very good example of more academically or intellectually oriented INFJ, kind of filling the shoes of or the role that an INTJ would normally fill, much like my path has led me down to being an engineer. And he approached me and said, "Are you sure that I'm not an INTJ, just with fairly good FE?" And I wanted to sort of share this thought process out loud so that you could maybe understand why an INFJ is not an INTJ. There are intellectually oriented or academically, I'd prefer the term academically, but academically oriented INFJs. It's not common. Most of the time INFJs are going to be drawn to the sort of mystical, shamanistic side of things, or the artistic, or things of the more like emotional, humanitarian nature. But this friend and me there are some INFJs who are drawn to the sciences or the philosophies, science being a form of philosophy. I think that it's rare, but INFJs are definitely drawn to it. And even if they choose the artistic side, I think that a lot of INFJs have a natural appreciation for the sciences or the philosophies. Many of them do. I've met some that absolutely do not, but that actually has more to do with their dogmatic conviction of certain religious beliefs. But that's not a type thing. That actually is just a person thing. But what I've noticed is that the academic flavor of INFJ seems to sort of be devoid of FE. There is like a strong sense of internal emotional sway that the academic FE still has. Just like all the other INFJs, there's this need to be guided by emotional influences or the surroundings or however they bloody well feel at the time, like characteristic of INFJ. INTJs won't do that. That's not them at all. They seem very detached from their emotional needs or swayings. It's almost like everything to them is logic, and I wish there was a different word than logic for this, because it's not like INFJs or other types can't think things through. That's totally false and very obviously empirically false, but every type is capable of logic. It's the INTJ, what's so characteristic of them is a linear manner of thinking, which is different than, I think, logic. It's like their reasoning happens very structured, very external. There's reason A, reason B, reason C. Why would I ever consider that my emotions are different than that? Obviously, I'm going to go with what the reasons point to. That's INTJ. INFJ is, hey, I've got this feeling that I really want to justify. I think I can use, let's go searching for the facts. And the facts are now colored by whatever they can see to arrange an argument that makes this look good. So they'll actually take, the INFJ is very selective in how they word things, in how they actually justify things, because they want to reach the conclusion that what they were feeling was actually correct. The INTJ actually does not care that that is what they may or may not reach. And so they end up with a sort of like, I don't know, more objective but kind of boring sort of approach. And, like, obviously this is my own bias. I call it boring, but it's logical. I mean, as an INFJ, I just call it boring because I can't imagine living my life without giving into emotional needs or whims. Hillary and I have noticed that my FE is slightly behind everything else. It's nowhere near what it should be for an INFJ, I think, my age. The INFJs that I know are around me that have chosen to take a different route are much more fluidly emotional, and I think they have a better idea of what other people are feeling. My FE is good enough that I can vibe off what a room is feeling and sort of follow the emotions of another person involuntarily, but it's miscalibrated. I will generally over assume things from my environment, like they're off. They're really off. When it's just, oh, they're just irritated about this one thing. I will not be able to not feel that. And I think that my friend, INFJ, also chose the academic path, has an underdeveloped FE just like me. Something that he and I both have in common though, and I think that this could be a common feature of the strict academic path of an INFJ, is tertiary TI can really grow to be very strong and overshadow the FE in many ways. For me, if I had to rely on one of them, I would definitely rely on my TI. I think my TI is much stronger than my FE. It's something I don't really find in common with the other INFJs that I meet. The other INFJs that I meet they're much more FE heavy, and their TI is lacking, whereas for us it's the opposite. TI is really good, FE is just kind of like, well, what was that? Like, and I wonder, like, and maybe this is all a bunked theory, is, if any INFJ is watching this, do you find, like, what path did you choose? Did you choose one of an academic nature, or was it a non-academic nature? I'm being overly simplistic here. There are many different paths other than just academic or not, but what path did you choose? And how do you feel like your TI and FE compare? Moral of the story is that INFJs can struggle with knowing whether or not they are the more clinically logical INTJ or not, but it basically comes down to, what is your primary focus? Is your logic going to bend to your whimsical gut feelings about how you feel about things, or are your gut feelings going to be totally ignored and bend yourself to the situation like an INTJ will? Not a common mistake that I've seen people make is INFJ or INTJ, but it totally can happen. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd actually really like to do an interview with you, friend of mine, who's an INFJ. Anyway, Hillary's home from grocery shopping. I should probably go help her. Peace.